Hello and welcome back. It is somehow July. It's the 2nd of July to be precise when I'm filming this. So we are halfway through the year and that means it is time for a mid-year check-in on how I'm doing for my reading goals for the year. So I just wanted to go through because I had 5 main goals that were my overall goals for the year and then some sort of sub goals interwoven in those. And yeah, we're just gonna see, was I overly optimistic or was I about right? So I'm getting my information from a couple of sources throughout this. Obviously I've got some information from Storygraph, and I have also got my reading journal. So I started a new notebook for my reading journal this year as I'd finished my old one, and I've been really loving the process of sitting down and updating it when I get the chance. So if we go through my reading goals for the year, which are nicely laid out in my journal, we have got read 100 books, finish more series than I start, complete the diverse baseline, reduce my physical and digital TBRs, and get my physical TBR age to under 18 months. So let's start at the top. Read 100 books. So as of the midpoint in the year, I have read 58 books. So I am tracking really well to get to 100 books by the end of the year. I'm obviously 8 books ahead of target and I'm really pleased with this. So I knew that this year I would be reading less than I have in previous years. I started a new job in January. I've had lots of other things going on. So I knew I wasn't going to have quite as much time or brain capacity for reading as I have in previous years. And that's fine. Like, I always knew that that would happen at some point, that I wouldn't be able to sustain the levels I was reading at before. But I'm really, really happy that it is still at the level it is. It's very much up and down. Some months I'm reading a lot more than others, but that's fine. I am well on track to easily hit my goal for the year of 100 books. And that is the bit that I need to focus on. It's not that, oh, at this point last year I'd read this many books. No, it's actually, I am where I wanted to be for this year, and that is fantastic. So then the second goal, to finish more series than I start. So I started the year with, I believe, 31 ongoing series, and right now I have 31 ongoing series. Yeah. So there's been a bit of rotation. There has been quite a bit of rotation. There's been quite a few that I've finished, and then some new ones that I've started, and some of the ones that I've started that I'm very close to finishing as well. So I'm quite excited by that. I do genuinely believe that I will easily hit this goal. If you look at some of the books that I have got coming up on my physical TBR, if you look at the number of series I've got where there is only one book left for me to read, I think it is really achievable. I am planning to do a couple of vlogs of reading books to finish series, so I'll be able to chat a little bit about the series and actually really encourage myself to finish those off. So hopefully that will help and I will be able to clear it down a bit. If I'm being honest, I do also have some starts of series that are coming up on the oldest books on my physical TBR. So I know for sure I am going to be starting some more series. So I do need to take that into account. But even still, I think that I can do this. And ultimately, I didn't say how much I wanted to reduce it by, right? So as long as I finish one more series than I start the rest of the year, I'm there. I obviously want to overachieve, but you know, it's good. So then goal number 3 was to complete the diverse baseline. So the diverse baseline is a challenge that is to do with reading books by racialized authors. There is a whole massive list of prompts, and to complete the challenge you have to read a book for a different prompt each month in there and track it. Now, I have set myself the goal for this to read 2 different prompts every month because I think that's a good amount based on the number of books that I read. And so far I have achieved it easily. So I have got in my tracker the 2 different prompts that I have read and the books that met those prompts each time. So I've so far completed 12 different prompts. And the really nice thing for me is that I have read more books that are by racialized authors that I just haven't counted for this challenge because I've only been counting 2 each month. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and it's really nice to just look at all the different prompts that are in there. I am looking at a couple of other challenges as well. I've got some other spreads in my journal, so these ones aren't quite up to date. I haven't put my pictures in from June, but we have got the Read More Queer challenge. We've got colour book challenge for the different book covers. I did actually read 2 more of those last month, so that one is nearly done. And then I have also got Jay's Sapphic book bingo as well. The reason for having a picture of that one is that I was filling it in last year and I was only filling it in on the Storygraph challenge, and I got to the end of the year and I had not made a single bingo. So I had hit a really decent number of prompts, but when I actually put them into the bingo card there was not a single line or column. So hopefully having a nice little picture makes it a bit easier to see which ones I'm missing in there. And yeah, I've actually got 2 options already that I've got for in a row or column, so that's quite nice. Okay, so goal number 4 was to reduce my physical and digital TBRs. Let's start with the physical TBR. So at the start of the year I had 44 books on my shelves that I had not read, and as of right now there are 26. So I am absolutely ecstatic with that. I have reduced it by more than a third. Really happy with that progress. So that is a reduction of 18. That number is very important for me at this exact moment because I am going to Rare this weekend, and so there will be new books acquired. Like, that's just a thing. I'm in the privileged position where I can go to events like this for starters, but also that I can buy books for myself when I'm there as well and pick up the free books that authors are generously donating. But because I've got a buffer of 18, I'm not coming home with 18 books that I haven't already read, right? That's not happening. I've still got this massive buffer that actually I should be able to go away, have a great time, bring some more books back, but also know that it has still reduced on the list. So I'm really happy with that. It's taking off a lot of pressure as well, and I am starting to get back to that point where I feel like I can just buy a book because I trust that I will be reading it at some point, which I had moved away from that a little bit with just feeling like the books were just sitting on my shelves and not being read. So in terms of my digital TBR, I started the year with 36 owned digital books that I hadn't read, and as of right now I have 33. So they're quite similar numbers. There have been a few times where I've been through and just kind of removed a couple from my e-readers that realistically I know I just won't be reading, but also I have actually read some, so I'll take it. I think definitely it's not something that I have focused on as much. Maybe it's something to start looking at for the rest of the year, but I'm pretty happy with what I have from readings. And I think it has definitely made me a lot more conscious of only buying ebooks if I'm going to read them. I am definitely getting more into the mindset that I would rather spend a little bit more on an ebook and know I was going to read it than get the cheap ebooks and them still be stuck there ages later. So yes, I could have bought 4.99p ebooks, but that's more expensive than buying one for 2.99 that I actually read. Yeah, definitely like one to work on, but technically I'm meeting the goal for it. something that fits into the TBR reduction goal but is a bit of a side tangent and was a goal that only existed for the first half of this year was my Ready for Rare goal. So like I mentioned, I am going to Rare this weekend. So it's Rare 25 London. So it's back in London, which is where the first one was that I went to 2 years ago. Now, what I realised when I was looking at my shelves at the start of the year was that I had quite a few books on my shelves that I had picked up, either bought or got for free when I went to Rare London in 2023, that I hadn't read yet. And again, I thought, well, this is going to ruin my enjoyment of picking books up. If I'm there going, is this ever going to be read? And I also had some other books that I wanted to try ready for this event. So authors that were going, and either books that I just had sat on my shelves for a while or authors that I wanted to try. So this boiled down to 20 books, including all the ones that were on my shelves and the extras that I wanted to try, and I managed to read all 20. I was so super proud of myself. It's so satisfying. It's been great just seeing them like crossed off the list from my shelves and things like that. So yeah, I would say, ironically, the challenge is called Ready for Rare. I do not feel ready for Rare, but I'm really happy that I set it for myself as a focus and that I managed to do it. It is making me think that it might be nice for the rest of this year to set myself like a list of books that I would really like to read before the end of the year. I don't know if it would be as many as 20, but I'm going to sit down and have a think on that to see kind of where I can get to, because there are a few that I'm thinking, oh, I definitely want to read that before the year is out. But yeah, so that was another sub goal. It wasn't one of my official goals, but I have managed to achieve. I'm very happy with. So the last goal on the list was to reduce my physical TBR age to under 18 months. At the start of the year, my physical TBR age was 24 months. So what that means is at that point in time, the oldest book that was sat on my shelves had been purchased 24 months earlier. I'm trying to get this down to 18 by the end of the year. So as of the end of June, my physical TBR age was 26 months. So it has gone up. But, and I'm going to sound like I'm justifying here, but I'm doing really well with it. I'm actually really seriously on track to meet this goal. And I'm going to tell you why. There's a couple of reasons for it. Firstly, is that this is a goal for the whole of the year. So the goal has always been to be in that position at the end of the year. It was never something that I thought I would achieve partway through the year and then keep up with, because of the split of when I bought my books. And that is the really crucial thing. So at the moment, yes, my physical TBR age is 26 months. And that is going to stay the same probably for the next few months, because as I read a book, it obviously moves into the next month. So even if I bought the book a month later, with that moves on another month. But if I show you, I don't know if this will work in here. If not, I'll do a little zoom in on my shelves a bit later. So I have got my physical TBR shelves, which has got all the books. Now, to get it under 18 months, I have to have read up to here by the end of the year. And I've still got some here which are quite old. But because of my Ready for Rare challenge, this whole section here has now been read. So actually, to get my physical TBR age to under 18 months by the end of the year, I have to read 7 books. I've got 5 more books that I bought in 2023, and then 2 books that I bought in the first half of 2024. Now, I am every single month this year reading the oldest book on my shelves. And I have done really well with that. There was one month where it was the last book I read in the month, and so I technically finished it the month after, but I've managed it every single time. So if I keep up doing that, which there's no reason to suggest I wouldn't, that's 6 of the 7 already. So we're saying that actually to meet the goal of getting it under 18 months by the end of the year, I have to pick up 1 extra book in 6 months. And that's why I think it's very achievable. So am I justifying? Yes. But I think it's valid. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Am I just justifying? Am I being overly optimistic? But I think that is really doable. So where do I want to go from here? We've got the rest of the year. How do I make sure that I'm meeting my goals and enjoying reading? Because that's the important thing, is particularly with reading slightly less than I was previously, I need to make sure that I am really enjoying the books that I'm reading. So one of the big things I want to make sure I do is that I keep up with my 2025 book purchases, but also my 2024 book purchases. So because I have been focusing on like the older books on my list, I've only read 2 books from my physical shelves that I bought in 2024. One of them was on my Ready for Rare challenge, and one of them I read right at the start of the year that finished off a series for me. So I do want to make sure that I am reading some of those so that I get to enjoy them while they're still relatively recent, but also so that I don't get to the end of this year and I'm still going, oh, I've got so many books that I bought the year before. I do then also want to keep on top of books that I'm buying this year. Not all of them, particularly with getting more in rare, but there have been a few, and I'm buying them because they're books that I want to read at the moment. So I just want to keep reading those. And it is really enjoyable, actually, wanting to read a book, buying the book, reading the book. It's great. So that's definitely something that I want to do. As I mentioned earlier, finishing series is a big one for me. Again, just because mentally it frees up that mental space. If I know that I've got less series that I'm in the middle of, it's just more enjoyable to be able to read a series back to back, or to feel like starting a new series isn't the worst thing in the world. But one of the big things I want to do is just read a book because it feels like it's the right book to read. There's been a few times already this year where I've read books that were not anywhere near my TBR plans for the month. And I either just saw someone talking about it and it reminded me about it, or something made me think, hey, I really fancy this specific sort of book right now. And I've read them and I've loved them. And that is so much more important than ticking any boxes. And do you know what? I've done that and I've still managed to tick the boxes anyway. So yeah, it's just a win-win really. And I think that's what I need to take away from this. If you asked me how my reading has been this year, I would say it's so up and down. I've had times where I've barely managed to read for weeks on end and things like that. But then I look at it like this, and I look at the fact that I am absolutely smashing my reading goals for the year. I could look at the fact that my average rating on Storygraph is really high. I could look at the fact that I am, not always straight away, but I am managing to put reviews up for every single book that I read, that I'm just still really loving being a reader. And yeah, if I look at it like that, if I look at it objectively, rather than through some perfect BookTube or Bookstagram lens, then yeah, I'm having a great reading year so far. So thank you if you have stuck around to this point in the video. I would love to hear how the first half of your year has gone reading wise. Like, what's your highlights? Give me something positive. Say something that has been amazing, even if it's a push for you to think so. What's something? Is it that one book that you really truly enjoyed? Is it a series that you finally got to, or anything like that? Are you meeting any of your goals as well? Let's get some positivity in there about reading and just talk about the things that we're doing well or the things that we're enjoying. And hopefully I will see you again soon. Bye.